Well, yes, spoken. There it is. Hey, hello, everybody. We're back.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Abdul Rahman bin Muhammad. I'm sitting across from,
Alonzo Lee Beckett.
and today on the Manhood Tree podcast, we are going to be doing our first
Well, yes,
episode.
Hey, hello, everybody.
Is this mine?
That's that's
We're
you.
back. All right, ladies and
No,
gentlemen,
that's not
my
me.
name is Abdul Rahman bin Muhammad. I'm sitting
It's
across
you,
from.
buddy.
Oh, wow.
So we're going to be doing our first. This is the first time we actually have an author on the podcast, and we're not reviewing his book. We're gonna listen to some of his book. We're gonna have a conversation about his book, and so I'd like to start off by having you introduce yourself. Let everybody know who you are and what you're all about.
Hey, party people. My name is Frederick Douglass Knowles II. I am a poet, author of my second book, Sinking in Moonlight Alone. I'm also an educator, activist in the community, college professor, and a lover of life. So I'm here to share with you what I have written down over the past few years about my experiences or people, loved ones, or the communal experiences, or all the above, and see how you feel about it, see what you want to say, see what you want to do.
So Frederick,
And then see if you want to buy the book.
Oh, yeah. So Frederick, this is your second book.
Yes, sir.
The first book was Black Rose City.
Black Rose City, yes.
First, give the people a little bit about Black Rose City before we jump into Sinking in Moonlight Alone.
Okay, sounds good. So Black Rose City is a collection of poetry that pretty much autobiographical, biographical poems about family, friends, and loved ones, community, growing up in Norwich, Connecticut. And so Norwich is known as the official Rose of New England, right? And so Black Rose City is, of course, about our communities that don't necessarily have that microphone for them to tell their stories and so on and so forth. And
Right.
so we're known now for a couple of things. One, historically, was we're the home of Benedict Arnold, who was the traitor in the Revolutionary War. Yeah, he was born in Black Rose City. Yeah. One of the poems in Moonlight Alone, I give that shout out about that.
Yeah.
And then now, of course, we are right dead smack in between Foxwoods Casino and Mohegan Sun.
Okay.
Right, we're that little tiny speck on the map between those two casinos and so forth. And so it's historically a mill town, of course, during the Industrial Revolution, so on and so forth. Our claim to fame is Lincoln stayed in our Warwigan Hotel back in the 1800s before he got his wig pushed back. We're a mill town, and of course, what happened when the mills all closed down and so forth, right? And so we kind of been that, like I said, that speck of dust on the map ever since. So I decided to write Black Rose City, let folks know who we are.
Yeah, and you represent Norwich to the toppity top, to the tippity top,
Tippity
every
top.
single day.
Every single day.
That's what's up.
I appreciate that. All right,
Oh, like that little clap right there.
so I wanted. Do you want to do a poem from Black Rose City just to kind of get the ball rolling?
I think I want you to ask, because I gave you a copy of the book, right?
Yes,
so
I got the book.
All right. So you got a rabbit eared up and so on and so forth, man.
So you want to get into the new book? You don't want to go backwards. You want to go full.
Oh yeah, I want to go forward.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's go to the new joint. Black Rose City is available on Amazon.com
Yes.
and BarnesandNoble.com.
Yes.
I published it back in 2011.
Oh, wow.
So it's been a long time coming for this second sophomore book. So I'm definitely ready to move forward.
on.
Yeah.
Okay, so give the audience a little bit, about why did you name the book? Why did you title the book Sinking in Moonlight Alone? Let's start off with that.
Yeah. So there is a poem titled Sinking in Moonlight Alone. And the premise of that poem is my mother. Right, so let me back up. So my father and my mother were married. They had 9 children.
Yeah.
I was their 9th child, their last child. And my father, at 42, had a heart attack and died when I was 6 months old. And so now fast forward, I would take my mom out to lunch, or my siblings would take her. But when it was just me and her, we go to, she loved Chili's. So we always go to Chili's. She always order a soda, no ice, Coke, no ice. And she would sit there and she would look at me and she would just smile with this big grin, smile. And I'd be like, "What, Mom?" She'll, "Oh, you look just like your father." And so I wrote the poem about that experience. And then the title of the poem comes from a line in that particular poem. Like I didn't set out to name this with this title,
Right.
but there's a line in the poem that references my father. Harvey, as cool as an errant ocean sinking in moonlight alone.
Right.
And so once I'd written that line, or after I looked at it and so forth, I was like, all right, well, this is the name of the poem. Like, okay, boom. And then after I went back and looked at this collection of elegies, right? Primarily elegies, poems about loved ones and who passed away, so on and so forth. I was just like, okay, sinking in moonlight alone. Because some of the folks in the poem, in the book, we make certain decisions when we feel like we're all alone.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're not the best or smartest decisions, so on and so forth, And so I was just like, all right, well, that's going to be the name of the book. And so it's broken into 3 parts, where the first part is sinking in moonlight alone with family.
Right.
And then the second part is with friends,
Mhm.
and the last part is with God, right?
Yeah.
Which has this irony to it, because I'm not singing in moonlight alone if I'm with family, right?
right.
And so on and so forth. If I'm with God. However, like I said, we make these decisions. Like, how many people can you think about that be like, oh, I'm the only one this is happening to. It's not happening to nobody else, and
Yeah.
and you're just like, nah, it's happening to all of us.
It's happening all of us.
So that's where the title of the poem comes from.
So,
The book.
so why don't we start off with that poem? Let's hear
All
it.
right, we can do that.
Sinking in Moonlight Alone, written and performed by Frederick Douglass Knowles II.
Oh, I can find
Give him a little
it.
round of applause.
Yeah, give me a bam, bam, bam. Tony Mike. All right. Title poem, Sinking in Moonlight Alone. My mother searches the day my father died. Digs in the ancient as if an archaeologist. Uncovers the quiet, eternal in her cola, no ice. A burgeoning moon sips her soft dawn, swirls her straw into a first kiss that fizzles into footprints fossilized on a dance floor from 1955. My father's two-step is as measured as an officer's condolence, slow twisting our screen door. She swivels her straw, exhumes his lithic heart, camel walking into the desert 6 months before my first step. Our waiter inscribes with a paternal hand. His attributes remind her of mine. My attributes remind her of Harvey, a soul as cool as an errant ocean sinking in moonlight alone. She softens the amber in my heirloom eyes, discovers the color ether, tucking her son beneath the sediments of 1974 before she sips her soda.
I love it. So I just had a thought. I emphasized the second when I said your name.
Yes.
But then I remembered your dad's name was Harvey.
Yes. Like, wait a minute here. That's
Something
don't add up. Right? You number 2. Number 2? Yeah. So I'm named after my great grandfather.
Okay.
He's Frederick Douglass Knowles the first.
Right.
Which I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
until I went to City Hall to get a new birth certificate, and I got my birth statement.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I had my parents on there. And to this day, I don't know why it had my great grandparents on there.
Right.
But they're on that. Is it on? Have you ever seen that before?
No, it's not on my. birth
Yeah,
certificate.
it was on there, and
Yeah.
that's how I found out. I was
Wow.
like, oh, okay.
That's deep.
Because growing up,
So who named you?
so there's a tug of war with that. So I think my brother tells me that my mother named me
Mhm.
because my father wanted to name me something astronomical.
What was it?
And
What would your name be?
I don't remember. I don't
You know what
remember.
your name would have been?
I gotta call my brother Kenny.
I know my name. My name
I
would have
had
been
another
Gregory.
name.
My
I
name
had
would have been
another
Gregory.
name.
Yeah, another name?
My name was
Yeah.
Gregory.
Oh yeah.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
Before my parents became Muslim, I had
Yeah.
a name. I don't. You'll never know.
Oh.
I'm not sharing.
So with this name, right? So what I've done with Frederick Douglass Knowles II, and so on my birth certificate, it's Frederick Douglass Knowles. And there's only one E, there's not a second E in Frederick, and there's only one S.
Okay.
So, in homage to my great grandfather and the Frederick Douglass, I
Mhm.
added the E, the S, and the 2.
Okay,
Right? So,
right.
that's, you can call it like my pen name, right? But my legal name is Frederick Douglass Knowles.
Okay.
That's where it comes
I had
from.
to ask the question.
Nah, very good question. Like your name is.
All right, so when I picked up the book to read,
Yeah.
and I appreciate my copy. I paid for my copy, didn't
You
I?
prepaid. You was the
Yeah.
first one.
I like being the first.
Prepaid.
As
Get
most
yours
people-
at woodhallpress.com.
That's right. Most people know I do a lot of work with fathers.
Yeah.
In fatherhood, and so when I picked up the book, the first poem I read was a father's program.
Right. Yeah.
Let's preface this though,
Okay.
and so I kind of know your story.
Yes.
A little bit, I've
Yeah.
I've been around you sometimes, so I hear some of your poems and different things.
You've been around me since you had locks.
And
So.
since I had locks, crazy, long time. And so I was intrigued first because of a father's, just a father's made me say, oh, I gotta look at that.
Right.
But a father's program, I think that based on the previous poems that you've written,
Mhm.
made me say, I wonder what he's going to talk about in that. And so I would love for you to read that one with the audience as well. And also tell us a little bit after. I think you should read it first and then
Yeah, we can
tell
delve
them.
into
Tell
that,
them,
sure. Because I'll mess around and talk the whole time. Be like, man, just get to the poem, man. Just get to the poem. You got a dog eared over there.
I got
what
a dog
What pages is that, man?
Oh, that's on page 30.
30. See, look at that. You know my book better than me.
I know the book, man. I've been looking at the book.
Appreciate you, brother. Yeah. All right, all right. My father's program. Rummaging through my mother's boxes before she died, I found my father's funeral program. March 4th, 1974. I never saw it before, had no recollection of his service. Then I stopped and thought, how could I? How could I remember the date of his death when, at the time, I didn't know the date of my birth, September 25th, 1973. I couldn't help but wonder, did my mother preserve his program for me? Only me and not my 8 siblings. Why didn't she tell me she had kept the last historical record of my father? Or did dementia wrap the umbilical cord around her memory too? I've only seen my father's program once in 49 years, tucked it back in a box that didn't belong to me. My mother was still alive, so I couldn't claim it for my own. But I did, 3 months later, when I wrote the obituary for her program. Now that box is stacked in storage, filled with family. But there's only one piece that I'm writing this poem about. One that reminds me that my mother preserved a man that never saw his son grow into one. One that he would be proud of, ashamed of too. What will I do with my father's program? Do I even know which box and storage indexes my only not-so memory? My storage unit is safeguarded by my mother's watchful scent, blanketing her couch, wafting over her recliner. When I knelt down to heave the unit door to place her program, February 13th, 2023, alongside his, I inhaled what I was told was the life of my parents, the syncopation they shared dancing, the malice they made while arguing. Sometimes, I wish I would have never found my father's program. Then I could pretend he just abandoned his family. Then I could pretend it wasn't real.
I'd like you to elaborate.
Okay.
So that the last 2 sentences, then I could pretend. No, the last 3 sentences.
Yeah.
I would have never. I wish I would have. Sometimes I wish I would have never found my father's program. Then I could pretend he just abandoned his family. Then I could pretend it wasn't real. So what's the difference?
So the difference is that if he abandoned his family,
Mm-hmm.
he'd still be alive.
Oh.
And he'd still be out there.
Oh.
And I would have that opportunity.
Yeah.
Even though he left.
Right.
Right? I
Yeah.
would still have the opportunity if I chose to, or
Mhm.
if he chose to later on down the line,
Right.
to reconcile.
He could still be connected with.
Connected,
But
right?
because the program is an end.
It's the tangible,
finite.
it's the finite.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Mhm.
So I could pretend he wasn't gone. I could pretend it wasn't real
Yeah.
if he abandoned. the
How
family.
old was your father when he passed?
He was 42.
Oh,
42 with 9 children. My mom was a 1950s stay-at-home mom and so forth, and went to work on the job, had a heart attack. And so with the Moonlight Alone poem,
Mhm.
where I talk about the slow twisting, that's a dance from back in the day, and camel walking,
Mhm.
you know, metaphorically, slow twisting, because my mother found out the next day when an officer came and told her.
Mhm.
Like no one, she didn't know.
Oh.
Like he worked third shift,
Mhm.
so at the state hospital in Blacksburg City, and so she didn't know until the next morning.
Right.
And the officer's telling her that her husband is gone.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, from a spiritual perspective, the night before, my mom tells me this, or she used to tell me this, is that so I'm 6 months. And that night before he left, my mom said he just held me and held me and held me and held me longer than usual.
Right.
You know, and then that was it.
Mm.
You know, so I could pretend.
Yeah.
You know, and so I'm going through my mom's stuff. Like, you know, we're packing her up to move her into my sister's house. You know, and I'm going through her stuff and this and that and cleaning things out. And I just picked this up and it says, you know, 1974, Harvey Eugene Knowles Sr. And I'm like, whoa,
Right.
my mother saved it. She never told me.
Right. Right.
All this time. And I found it,
Mhm.
right? No one else found it. I found it, you
Yeah.
know? And so I was just like, wow, this is providence.
What are the
age?
ages of your siblings?
So my oldest brother Harvey, he's now, what is he, 69? About that. So
So is this-
1957 to 1973, and we're all, so there's
Okay.
a 16-year gap between the firstborn and the lastborn.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I got 6 brothers, and actually I have 2 brothers and sisters after my dad passed. So they had 9 siblings with my father Harvey,
Mhm.
and so forth. So there's 9 of us,
Wow.
16-year difference. So they're all like
So-
a year apart.
So some of them
Yeah.
had time with your father.
yeah,
You
yeah,
talk-
yeah.
I'm sure you've talked about. Have they talked to you about like? Yeah, I'm sure you had questions. You got older. Like, how was that?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I said my oldest brother Harvey, he always talks about it. He's like, man, he's old school, right?
Mhm.
Man, you don't know, man. They were different parents, man. She was a different mother then, because she was 20 years old.
Right,
You know what I mean? Just
right.
got married,
Mhm.
and she was a firecracker, man,
Yeah.
like thunderstorm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so by the time, of course, we came around, the younger ones,
Mm.
she's older, she's more tired, softened up, and so forth. So we had 2 different mothers. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's
man.
interesting because like I'm one of the older children in my family.
Yeah.
And so to when you said that, it made me just realize, yeah, because they get a different as the parents get older,
Mhm.
you get a totally different experience in a sense. And so
Yeah.
like sometimes my little brother Omar and Aisha, they're not that much younger than younger than me, but
Mhm.
it is a different experience because there was a lot of stuff that they didn't necessarily go through or experience that we did because
Yeah,
we got there a little earlier. And so I was thinking about what compels you to write these poems, to research, to get the history, to get the information that you
Yeah.
kind of like gotten over these years.
I've been absorbing it my entire life.
Mhm.
I've been absorbing it since I was 6 months old.
Right.
You know, because my father passes, and then by the time I'm like 7, my nana passes.
Mm.
Actually, my grandfather Joseph, he passes first, and then my nana passes. That's the poem Wu Tang's about her. She passes.
Right.
And then my aunt passes. So I just went through a slew of funerals.
Right.
By the time I was like 10 years old, I went through a slew of funerals.
Mhm.
To the point where, like, as I got older, I realized like I don't cry at funerals. Like,
Mm.
I don't cry when people pass because I've been I say seasoned
Yeah.
ever since a young kid. So I've been recording this my
Mhm.
entire life. But then it gets to a point where I got into a point, especially with my father, where it's like, okay, doesn't matter how many tears you cry, he's not coming back,
Mm.
right? 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old, he's not coming back,
Right.
right? And we
Right.
talked about it before we went on the air as far as choosing other choices or vices,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
He's not coming back,
No matter what.
you know?
Yeah.
And so the writing actually helped, I'll say save me, where I realized that the hole in my heart
Mm.
for my father can never be filled,
Right.
right? Even though I've tried over the years to fill it. But what I've realized now over the years is that let it be a hole, and just I put yellow tape around it,
Mhm.
caution,
Yeah.
as to here's a hole in my heart,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so that way, I don't try to fill it,
Mhm.
right, and I don't fall into it,
Yeah.
And so that's where the premise of these poems come, and then just learning, like you said before, as older siblings, sharing stories. So I've been recording these stories, man, and I'm about to be 53, so 53 years of my life, 52 and a half, I've been recording these stories, and now through poetry over the past few years, past 20 years, was the way for me to actually share them, and talk about them.
Mhm.
Because if we talk now without the book, you'd be like, hey man, well, what's up with your dad? You know what I
Right,
mean? I'd
right,
be like,
right.
oh, wait a minute, man, hold on. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What's up with your dad?
Yeah. No, actually, I'm actually starting to feel emotional having this conversation.
Uh-huh.
And I realized that, Alonzo's father passed away about a year ago.
Like 2-3 years.
My time is off. My father passed away 9 years ago.
Wow, okay.
And so I think that as we're listening, as we're having when I read it the other night,
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about you.
Me, yeah.
And then as you were talking just then, something all of a sudden hit that I'm in the same boat. I knew my dad. I got a long time with my dad.
Yeah.
But once he's gone, he's gone.
Gone.
And it's really one of those things where you feel, even as a man with a gray beard, my cousin came by my house the other day and said, "You look just like your dad." People say that all the time when I get my beard like this. They say, "You look like your dad," but it's like I'm not my dad. My dad was something else.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to be in that position.
Yeah.
Like I'm okay being his son.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. And so I actually caught myself just then saying like, damn, I actually feel the tear was actually for you for not being able to have all those years.
Yeah.
Because it's very tough to go through a life without having, somebody that at the end of the day, when things get hard, I could pick up the phone. If I need some money, if I need whatever it was, there was somebody that was better, bigger, older, smarter,
Right.
and I don't have to carry it all by myself.
Somebody that you can actually call dad.
Yes.
Like I never got to use that word
Right.
now,
Yeah.
ever. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's one of the reasons why I actually, I say daddy all the time. You know what I'm saying? Hey, what's up, daddy?
You say what you can,
daddy.
yeah,
Peace.
yeah.
Because I never got to use it. You know
Right.
what I mean? And so
Wow.
just the enunciation of that word itself. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So,
Are you a parent?
I'm a grandparent. I'm a
Yeah,
father.
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
did we
yeah.
talk? I think
Yeah.
you did mention that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm
Actually,
I'm called
yeah,
dad.
you
Yeah,
right.
I've been
Yeah,
called
yeah.
dad.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, but I never got to use the word.
How do you
Yeah.
think that has affected you? You think? I don't, because you don't, like you said, you never had a dad,
Yeah.
right? So where do your father figures come from?
Phew. Well, growing up was my brothers. I had 6 older brothers, 5 older brothers, and then really that was it. I would piecework father figures. We had Mr. Jenkins, Dan Jenkins Sr. Was a cop in Black Rose City, black cop and so forth. And he was like the first Mr. Huxtable, for a lot of us in Black Rose City and so forth. I went to school with his daughter, Vicki Jenkins. We went to school since kindergarten together.
Yeah.
And then I was friends with her older brothers and so forth. And so I go by the house and this and that. And you would see the black nuclear family, mom, dad, and there's 4 of them, 4 or 5 of them, and so on and so forth. You know? So just getting, and then he became the football coach for our sophomore year of high school. So watching Mr. Jenkins and so forth, like, okay, all right. And then also not wanting to get into trouble where you were embarrassed,
Mm.
you know, or either you were embarrassed by Mr. J, not by him, but you were embarrassed, or you didn't want to embarrass him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
hey, what are you doing?
Right.
Hey, what you doing over there?
Yeah, yeah.
No, Mr. Jenkins, you know.
Right.
So just piece working a father figure together from all that I saw, you know, positive and negative, you know,
Right.
influences and so forth.
So let's continue on with your father.
Yeah,
The
okay.
poem.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm saying,
yeah, the poem. Not
yeah.
yeah. And because this is a different angle
Yeah.
on fatherhood, and it's you
Yeah.
this time around, right?
All right, 16.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You know the number before the book. Like, go find it.
You know the book better than me, man.
I'm sorry.
What what's interesting about the book is that I've been reading it from the manuscript.
Mhm.
So I would have it like the manuscript in front of me,
Right.
the pages, you know, and now it's like all new pages and
Yeah.
so on and so forth. So this poem, Your Father, is inspired by Gwendolyn Brooks's poem, The Mother,
Mhm.
which is a poem about abortion
Mhm.
that I've used in my lit class in school.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, we'll talk after.
Yeah.
Okay, Your Father. Before you were born, I guilted your mother into an abortion, shamed her into dissolving your almost older sister's footprints in enzymatic solution so she'd never arc her toes in point soft shoes, poised to leap across stage. I left your mother, whose best friend cursed me, but your mother defended because even after howling into the eyes of a sterilized dream, she still loved me. 2 years after your birth, your mother guilted me into erasing your almost younger brother's footprints from a little league of wanted children, forbade him to steal outside the womb. So he picked the lock of her placenta and bled for me, your father, who discarded his almost in God's back alley. Your futureless kin knew not to dance with me, hit a home run, or be walked down the aisle by me. The hem of my soul sewn loosely into a promise never kept. So one thing about these poems,
Yeah.
again, we were talking before we got on the air and so forth, and you had said that they were like sad, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna get that.
And so, and I've in some readings I've done before the book was published, in the manuscript itself, I kind of got the same reflection and so forth. And my response to that is, it's no longer sad for me, right? I've gone through the emotional roller coaster ride. I've gone through the sadness, right? And that's why you probably can pick up when I'm reading, like my tone is not a sad tone. It's a somewhat of like a confessional tone. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
As to with me sharing what I'm sharing, right? And remove from the emotionality, right? So I'm not balling up in tears and so on and so forth, right? It opens up an avenue or a platform for others who may be in an empathetic situation, so on and so forth, to explore,
Yeah.
right? Which means you have to explore your emotions as well. And so if you're exploring that sadness or you're exploring whatever emotionality that comes or conveys through the poem, then I feel like I've done my job as to, let me give you something to open up to.
Right.
But they're no longer sad
Mhm.
for me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So so this is this what you call it, an elegy as well? This
Mhm.
last one?
yeah, they're
Just
primarily
wanna use
elegies.
the word of the
Proper
day.
word.
The word of the day is elegy.
Elegy. You know, elegiac verse. It's written in elegiac
Yeah,
verse.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely an elegy, so on
Okay.
and so forth, you know?
Mhm.
And it was something that, where I didn't really broach from a true emotional level until I read Gwendolyn Brooks's poem, The Mother.
Mhm.
You know, it was just like, wow,
Yeah.
okay, all right, because now, mind you, Brooks wrote that poem like back in the 70s, I believe. You can Google it, where no one was talking about that. No one's talking about abortion. You don't talk about those things,
Yeah,
right?
Especially in the 70s.
Yeah.
At that time, yeah.
And that's another way and reason why poetry / artistry can be used, right, to shine those spotlights on the so-called taboo subjects that we're not supposed to talk about in society, right? We're not supposed to address, but they exist clearly, you know. And then I thought about like, well, what does that look like for men, right?
Yeah.
And on either side of the coin, either the man wanting the abortion or not wanting the abortion, right? And what does that look like? What does that sound like, right? What does that feel like, you know? And I then, of course, like I'm a mad scientist, right? So I can't walk into and be like, hey man, how do you feel about the abortion that you made, you bit my man, you know?
Right.
But it's like, well, hey, let's look at this, right? And so I use myself as a platform first and foremost. Now I've gotten some feedback from some folks, some loved ones. They're just like, you're talking too much. You're sharing too much.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, you can say that.
Right.
You can say that. But I have to walk this world. I have to walk this world in my steps in my life.
That's right.
And stop me if I'm wrong, but I thought that one of our purposes in life, on this plateau, is to alleviate the weight, right? I don't want to be one of those old white guys, 80 years old, straight confessing the deathbed, because they scared to die,
Right.
because they know what's waiting for them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Quick sidebar: the dude that assassinated Bob Marley, the CIA agent, who actually put the lace needle in his shoe that gave him cancer, on his deathbed. He was like, that's the only assassination that he regretted, was assassinating Bob Marley and so forth. But see, he had to say that because he's about to be out.
He's out of
so
here.
why am I going to wait till I'm about to be out, right? Because I plan to live to be like $105 at least.
Yeah.
So you telling me I got to carry this around for another 55 years?
That's
so
that's the beauty of the art of
Therapy,
poetry too.
Yeah.
You got if you don't read it right,
Yeah.
you miss the whole thing anyway.
Yeah, you do.
And so I read it. I was like, oh, man. Your family read it.
yeah,
So one of the things I noticed in the book is that there are a lot of poems that are inspired by someone. You talk to me about that. The different people who have inspired you, or you wrote it for them in the book as well.
Yeah, so two parts. So the ones that are inspired by, that just comes from reading, man. You know what I mean? And being like, wow, okay. And reading, classics like Roots. I won't say The Roots, but Roots by Alex Haley. Reading Gwendolyn Brooks and other pieces of literature is that if I read this and got inspired by it, like, what will it do for the next reader? Right? And so let me show you where I'm getting my inspiration from. You know what I mean? Because we are keenly inspired by other folks and so on and so forth. And so that's the inspiration part. And then the other part, as far as like who these dedications to certain loved ones have passed away. I mean, these were all family and friends that over the years, like I said, these are primarily poems like circa, I was all the way from 6 months old to probably like mid 20s, early 30s ish, around there, for the most part. And so these people are part of my life, man. You know what I mean? We had some great times together, so on and so forth. And unfortunately, for one reason or another, and in some cases, tragically, just gone before their time and so forth.
Right.
And instead of me, like, each time I think about them, going to that woe's me, side of spectrum of grief, which is fine, people can do that, but like I said, I've already gone that. So I feel like if I go back to woe's me, I'm regressing, right? And then I'm not moving forward or evolving. And so I feel as now when I think about you and so forth, and I've written these poems about you, like, you're part of my evolution. You're part of my past, but you're part of my evolution as well.
Right. So I've seen Do the Right Thing probably
Senior year, huh?
50 times.
Okay. Okay.
So
All right.
just because it's referenced and talked about in this poem, 4 actors, Danny Aiello and Bill Nunn,
Yeah.
who were both in the movie, who have passed on. Please share senior year.
Which is on
55.
I can't drive 55. All right, so I gotta give you some premise on this.
Yes.
Is that senior year in 1990, I'm starting, and my first daughter on is born August 12th, 1990. So I'm going into my last year of high school and I become a father,
Right.
At 16. But 2 days before, I was in a drinking and driving accident coming from a keg party. I was a passenger in a car, and as a result, I almost lost my right eye. And so it was black for like 3 months of my senior year,
Wow.
and then during senior pictures. And so what happened was they actually doctored my photo. Like I was like one of the first photoshops before Photoshop.
Oh, wow.
Like they doctored it, man.
Yeah.
If I had I would show you.
Uh-huh.
They doctored it, but you can see the scars here still.
Mhm.
And so my quote in my high school yearbook was, "Do the right thing."
Okay.
And so those two right there.
Right.
So yeah, senior year for actors Danny Aiello and Bill Nunn, aka Sal and Radio Raheem. I shoo the bevy of dust off the cover of 91, thumb through my yearbook like a second childhood, flap each page, finger my black and blue eye above my quote, "Do the right thing." A Spike Lee cinematic Molotov of race still glints like seared glass, deliquescing in flames amid climax inside Sal's Pizzeria. I study my portrait, a mangled brow in real time, recall the attempt to shield a blemish. The lens flashes me back to the summer before senior year, the keg party, the abhorrent tree, the horizon twisting like a roller coaster. Homecoming, my eyes still full, black and blue, like the concert of Radio Raheem's pitch. Loud melanin blaring against an officer's uniform. Radio gasp in front of Styles. Cries. The hood heard him die like size D batteries in his boombox. Finger rings scrape love and hate into concrete. Do the right thing. Enforced at the academy how to cobra clutch your nightstick around Radio Raheem's to the chorus, "I can't breathe." Eric garner them till asphyxiation charts like a municipal soundtrack. Profile diasporans like a blues band touring inner city sidewalks, searching for public enemy ancestry, fated to fight the power. Serve unarmed boys till their ashes turn Freddie Gray, Mike Brown, Sandra Bland, red, black, green. Protect us from blue-white children wrapped in Irish authoritarian cold uniforms who smoke 45s like a Spike Lee joint their senior year.
So you do this thing. You did it in this poem. You Eric garnered them.
Yeah.
So you use people's name as a action.
Adjective.
Action's a verb.
Verb, yeah.
You turn it now into a verb.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I like that. I guess we should just continue on.
Well, just real quick
Yeah,
before
yeah.
we move on,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
that also this particular poem is really 4 poems in one. So
Yeah, I want to say it sounded like it changed up.
So
No,
each-
because you can
each
read
line
it. So
down.
you can read it horizontally,
So
or
we-
you can read.
So let the
vertically.
people know how it's written, or maybe you flip your book around so they can see. Because I actually thought about reading it that way.
Yeah, so you can read it. I read it horizontally,
Yeah.
right? But then you can read it vertically, and you'll get a different premise. It's
What is
the
that?
same
What is
premise,
that? What is
but
that called?
I forgot. To tell you the truth, I totally forgot.
It's gotta be
I
called
saw-
something, I'm
Yeah,
not-
I forgot. I saw it once in a poetry journal. I saw somebody do it.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh snap,
That's cool.
I
Yeah,
like
that's
that."
fire, yeah.
But I did forget the
that's
particular
dope.
form.
I like it. So yeah, I
Alright,
want the next one is one of your reverse psychology, the Diary of Disenfranchised Journal, entry number 187.
That's on page.
That's 58.
Yeah. Eating your dinner.
It's kind of like you started mentioning some of the people that we've lost.
Yes, yes.
You know that were murdered,
Uh-huh.
and in this one it kind of like continues on.
Gotcha. Yep. Reverse psychology. The Diary of the Disenfranchised. Journal entry 187. Routine traffic stop. Doing 65 in the 70. Hands out the window. Open your door. Hands in the air. Get out the car. Get on the ground. Lay on the hood. Get on your knees. Routine traffic stop. Thought it was a gun. Thought it was my gun. It was dark. He was dark. Thought Bohemian Jean's house was her house. Thought Ahmed Arbery was robbing a construction site. Thought Breonna Taylor's house was the right house. Wrong house. Michael Brown was running, about to run, breathing on his back. No, his stomach. Thought George Floyd could hold his breath for 569 seconds. Eric Garner was high, sold cigarettes. Philando Castillo had a legal firearm in the glove compartment. Thought his dark complexion made him guilty. If Chauvin was found innocent, the fire inside the marginalized would have burned like Watts, Newark, Chicago, Baltimore, Detroit, Oakland, Milwaukee, Cincinnati, Philly, Miami, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Harlem, D.C. Thought we dangled from your revolving rope while you reload. Thought Sandra Bland hung herself. Thought Karan Nazario's army uniform was invisible. That Trayvon Skittles were criminal. Thought it was me. It could have been me. He wanted to be me, but not him.
So
So these were written like post COVID.
Mhm.
Like I didn't do any writing during COVID. It was like, you guys, COVID, you need to do a lot of writing.
Yeah.
I didn't do any writing
right.
during COVID. And then after we're free, give ourselves free,
Yeah.
and it was just like, oh, okay.
Mhm.
And I was just like, well, what's a collective thought that could really, encapsulate our COVID pandemic era and so forth, and then what was also happening at the same time. And so that's what these reverse psychologies came from. And reverse psychology, you making it think that is us.
Right.
Yeah, wait, but what?
I had Skittles.
Yeah, exactly, right?
So this poem you just read, the last two actually are
Yeah.
in the section with friends,
With friends, yes.
and you don't know these people.
Mm-mm.
So I'd like you to talk a little bit about that.
I don't-
I have an idea of what you're doing, but yeah.
I don't know them personally, but I know them spiritually.
Yeah.
And I know them ancestrally.
Yeah.
Because it's unfortunately it's the same motif over the centuries
Mhm.
when it comes to ourselves or our ancestors. I don't like to say Black Americans. I like to say African diasporans.
Mhm.
Where there's some measure of oppression that continues and tries to annihilate us.
Right.
Right? Like literally trying to wipe us off the face of the planet. I mean, you like you just said. I mean, you're killing a young boy that has Skittles. Especially when the cops just told you leave him alone.
Right.
You
Yeah.
call. He's walking. He's got Skittles in his hand, and you're on the phone with 911, and they tell you don't follow him, leave him alone.
Right.
What does he do? He follows him and he murders him, and
That's
so
right.
forth.
Yeah.
And then he gets acquitted for it.
Yeah.
And it's just like this. It's a motif that if we don't discuss it, talk about it, and put action behind it and so forth, then it continues in silence, right? And so I know these folks spiritually and ancestrally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next poem, and this is like right in order, is a different kind of loss.
Yeah, okay.
It's a different kind of loss, and I thought it was sweet.
Okay.
And so this is without sunglasses. It's
Oh yeah. Okay, good.
You can tell I really read the book. You know.
You in it. You
What
in it.
number is it, man? What number
It's
is
the
it?
next poem, page 64. 64.
And not all these poems are sad because
Right.
Barry being Black Rose City, that is actual a joyful poem for me.
Yeah.
You said 64?
64. For Melrose Park in Norwich.
Yeah, so I grew up right across the street from Melrose Park, without sunglasses. From Melrose Park in Norwich, Connecticut. We were best friends. You couldn't wait for me to bolt off the bus, toss my books into my room. We were night and noon, moon and sun. Nothing I do without you. Hide behind the 18th hole, snatch golf balls, slip into brooks, leap bold streams, BMX over pyramids, pick berries, play hide and go seek, hot peas and butter, red light, green light, kick the can, freeze tag, football, and that's my car. We were best friends. Rendezvous up Oakwood Knoll, run, catch, and kiss behind Uncle's school, moonbeams bouncing off pubescent bodies. Then I changed, didn't have time, became busy, blamed the weather. What happened to our daring ways? Melrose Park, I'm sorry I no longer talk to you except when the rain falls from God's wistful eyes. I'm sorry I don't stare at the sun without sunglasses anymore. I'm sorry a snowstorm sends me inside instead of the backyard to cookie-cut angels into your frosting. We were best friends since kindergarten. Then I grew, I thought. What I really did was wither, cower into a consumerist, ignored your Amazonian cousin, Nutmeg, logged illegally for soybean industry. Pollutants dumped into ponds I pitched rocks into. I used to feed the ducks with my daughters with you. Now I duck from seagulls fertilizing your maternal shore. Melrose, I'm sorry. I miss our summer bike rides, blackening my melanin. I miss your woods, Jane arms unfurling into an auburn equinox. I miss poison ivy, skunk cabbage, pussy willows, dandelions, tadpoles, black ants, black red ants, horseflies, dragonflies, houseflies, not houseflies. But I miss lifting lids of trash cans, watching maggots I want to fly dance. I miss digging earthworms to watch them squirm, then burrow back into your bosom. I miss okra, collard greens, seeded grapes, sour apples, ripe tomatoes, Gammy's rosebush. Now the honeybees have vanished, so who's going to pollinate your purple hibiscus on Malerba's farm? We were best friends since kindergarten. But when I traded my playground for PlayStation, Tire 2 for YouTube, I never knew I'd pine for skyscrapers of uncut grass tickling my inner child under a quilt of dreams, squinting without shades, as tiny purple dragons saw your lemon summer smile, searching for the best friend who built this treehouse in the arms of your elm. I got a question though.
Yes.
When's the last time you saw a black red ant? Remember
I
seeing
actually, I actually was thinking about it. When you, yeah.
Remember
This
you see
whole
one?
poem, I was like, yeah. I actually was saying to myself, how did you in Norwich know how to play That's My Car? And I was in White Plains.
Yeah, we played
playing
everywhere.
That's My Car.
That's My Car,
Like,
yeah.
how did we get that game across
You know
all
what I'm
over the
saying?
place?
Without any internet, any
Yeah.
phones, or nothing. Didn't even know each other.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
that's my car. You
I have
know?
a question. Like
Yeah.
I was thinking while you're doing it, a kid your age,
Mhm.
what do they talk about?
Right now?
Right now.
What would they miss? Like I don't really miss because
Are
most of
they
their
even-
stuff, all
are
their
they
stuff
in
is
the park right now?
right. They're not.
Exactly.
Most
Yeah.
most kids don't play outside anymore. You're talking about playing outside. Kids don't do that. So what would they? I miss what? Right?
I did this poem at a high school workshop, poetry workshop, conference, and so forth.
Mhm.
And I read the poem and I did a prompt, and they were actually talking about how they're tired of technology and how they actually. These are high school seniors.
Okay.
How they're tired of technology and like they do actually miss being outside and
Wanna
so on
get
and so
away,
forth.
yeah.
Wanna get away, you know what I mean? But you know, like really, when's the last time you saw a black red ant, man? Like
It's been a
I know I'm not the only one that saw it because I remember the first time seeing one like that red is half black and half
Yeah,
white.
yeah.
You know?
Same
It's been
thing.
a long
We used to
time.
catch the same thing with the at night. I don't see a lot of those anymore. though.
Fireflies?
Fireflies.
Fireflies.
Used to be
Very
everywhere.
limited. Very
They
limited.
used to be everywhere back. You used to catch them.
Yeah.
Now it's
In the
like you
jars.
see him as like a unicorn. Like yo, you see that?
Yeah.
It's one of them by
Yeah.
itself. Like.
Yeah, looking for the crew. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, man.
But this is a poem about a park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Had it all.
actually, Melrose Park is actually not a park itself. It's
Okay.
actually a housing complex
Oh.
called Melrose Park. So Melrose Park is a housing complex across the street.
Mhm.
Jane Arms is another housing complex that my aunt and cousins lived in, which is about a 5-minute walk through the woods.
Yeah.
Right. So here is the house I grew up in. Right across the street, the college I teach at. To the left of Three Rivers is Melrose Park
Mhm.
housing complex, right? And then behind Three Rivers are these woods. You walk through this path and you get to Jane Arms,
Hmm.
right? And then if you walk through another path, when you're in Jane Arms, up a hill, you get to Oakwood Knoll,
Yeah.
right? And so I would just,
That's
pivot,
what
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Between all three, and so.
There needs to be a website where what you just did.
Oh, yeah,
You
too.
know, because it's like as you're reading it, somebody in China can't even fathom the whole, what you're talking about.
the
But if there was a
geographics.
website, you could be like, hey, just like you just did. It's like almost like you're moving through.
Yeah. That's a good idea, no, because Malurba's farm, his
Yeah.
actual farm was right next door to Merrill's Park.
Yeah.
So I used to work there and so on as a kid. And then across the street from Malurba's farm is the golf course,
Mhm.
where we would actually steal the golf balls. They would hit their golf balls, right? We run out there and snatch them.
Right.
Right.
Sell them back to them.
For a quarter. You know?
Yeah.
And then we had the BMX dirt trails right next to the golf course where, the cats and white boys in the neighborhood would have their BMX bikes and, I mean, their motocross bikes. And so this is the 80s, man. This is late 70s, early 80s, man.
Right.
It was just,
Different.
joyous time.
As we wrap up, what poem would you like to share with Sinking in Moonlight Alone with God?
Man, yeah, we talked about this, and I said for you to just go ahead and pull them. Jeez, I have to end with "Bury Me in Black Rose City." I mean, because what you just said about the website, having this geographical location,
Mhm.
and so this poem will give you an insight of Black Rose City of Norwich, Connecticut. And it was written because, in my town, I'm known as like the funeral poet. When someone passes away, they ask me to come do a poem.
Wow.
So I've done a few for family and friends, and it started me thinking of like, well, what would it look like or feel like, when I die, like, what my poem be and so forth. And so I came up with Bury Me in Black Rose City, and it literally walks you through the city throughout the times.
Mhm.
All right. Bury Me in Black Rose City for Norwich, Connecticut. 1. When I die, bury me in Black Rose City, where Mahan Elementary taught me how to daydream, sitting at my desk behind the piano in Miss Galuli's 5th grade class, fiending for McDonald's from across the street, Chicken McNuggets sweet, where Salem Turnpike turned into Greatscape, zooming in and out of electric poles, where every colored complexion caught disco-like fever to roll, where stories were told, too many to capture in a poem. Bury me in Black Rose City, where Teachers Memorial Junior High field tripped me to Boston and New York City, strawberry schnapps spilt in the back of the bus, streaming down the aisle, young 8th grade and wild with Artie, Kevin, Katie, Tara, Yolanda, and Hachin, where our infinite bond began, and I found a handful of lifelong friends. 2. Bury me in Black Rose City, on the hill between Jane Arms and Oakwood Knoll, behind Bonanzas and Zares, and let me stare into the Valley of Thames, where the squirrels will engrave our names into the coat of their acorns. Bury me in Black Rose City, on the west side, on the apex of Summit Street, back when Aunt Nancy's neighborhood was a cultural crock pot, Jews, blacks, and browns stirring the stew before the recipe eminent domain in the Dan Jenkins Park. Bury me at the block party in '83, the bridge is over, blaring into the field, where the brothers forged like steel, whenever New London knuckleheads tried to jump bad, but headed back down Route 32, mumbling through fat lips about what they should have, and shouldn't do. 3. Bury me in Black Rose City, next to NFA, Mohegan Park, Hamilton Football Field, East Side, Laura Hill, Lake Street, the Red Rabbit, Sportsman's, Portuguese Club, Johnson Sandpit, Bowling Alley birthday parties, Greenville, Tapville Carnival, Norwich Tech, Young Folks Shop, Gordon's, Palace Theater, Norwich Cinema 1 and 2, Barker's, King's, Ames, Marcus Plaza, Benny's, Two Legs, Norwich Town Mall Arcade, Caldors, Buellland Church, the King Center, Spalding Pond, Mohegan Park Zoo, St. Peter and Paul Fair, Uncas, Buckingham, Veterans, the Sheraton, the Golf Course, Malherbe's Farm, Melrose Park, the Dirt Bike Trails, Forwards Pond, East Great Plains Firehouse, Delia's, Vacatora's Bakery, Seafood, etc., the First Kentucky Fried Chicken, the Plav, Kingwa, Oak Tree, Olympic Pizza, Nickel Night, the Plav, VFW, American Legion, Pings, 783, Woolworths, G-Fox, the YMCA, Otis Library, Kingwa, Oak Tree, Olympic Pizza, Nickel Night at the Village Green, Mohegan Park Apartments, the Manicure, A&P, BB's, Both Friendlies, Fairlawn, Elizabeth Wood Street School, the Rec, Masonic Temple, Principal's Mansion, Freshman Football, Coach Spaden, Coach Mignault, Mr. Iabino, Mr. Greenwich, Mrs. Hendel, Mr. Fields, Mr. Blackstone, Mr. Snicken, Mr. Sorello, Mr. Tarka, Mr. Kotrapa, Mr. and Mrs. Osco, my mother, Mrs. Knowles, who took no shit from no student, Miss Fitzgerald, Mrs. Turner, Mrs. Hogan, the City Dump, Warwick's Hill, Norwich Motel, Charlie's Supermarket, Scooby's, Radio Shack, Tom McCann's, Genevieve's, Uncas Son Thames, the State Hospital, Bacchus, Crocodiles, Indian Leap, McDonald's, Friday Night Burger King parking lot fights, The Falls, Montville Road, Pizza Hut, TVCCA, Seaside, Night Flight, the West Side, 575, before Walmart was a vacant lot. 4. Bury me in Black Rose City, in Maplewood Cemetery, next to Gammy, Mommy, Aunt Lois, Eve Montgomery, Miss Macy, Tudis, Big T too. And maybe my roots will seep through the soil for Sage and Cairo to see how my grandbabies are an extension of legacy, a branch of the fullwood tree. Teach them like LaForest Knowles taught me, how to strap on your armor and leave the battlefield bloody. Let me gaze at a Mohegan sun eclipse. Tell the city I did it for them, and I do it again. When God gives me a new strategy to play the game again. I did it for my family, yours and mine. And when it's my time, tell them what I told them. Then tell them again, that the petals of my city wilt and renew like a season. Leave them with a reason to garnish the rose that grew through concrete. Tupacian philosophy. We've shed so many tears in this thug life. Dear Mama, thank you for making me and raising me, so one day they bury me in Black Rose City. Copy.
Last question. What if when somebody picks this book up, what do you want them to take away from the poems in this book?
That's a loaded question, man, because when it comes to literature, it's up to the individual to take away what they see, feel, you know. But I'll say this: I want you to take away the piece that I left in there for you, that reminds you of you, or inspires you and so forth. So, like you said when I read the poem about my dad, and you started talking about your dad, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted you to take away from that. I didn't plan that, right? So I want the reader to take away the nugget that is juicy for them. I'm thinking about chicken McNuggets, that's why. I was trying to do a little metaphor, right? Take the chicken McNugget that's sweet for you, right?
Right.
But yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
That work?
Not bad.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Right.
Hey, well, we appreciate you coming on the podcast. I think this is a powerful book, and I would suggest that you go to Woodhall Press. I took my glasses off. Woodhall Press and get you a copy. Sinking in Moonlight Alone, poems by Frederick Douglass Knowles II.
Soon will be available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, because the book just came out, so it takes a couple of weeks to get it on their platforms. So right now, woodhallpress.com. Or you can hit me up and get your own personal copy. I got a box in the back. You know what I'm saying? So appreciate you.
All right. Until next time, Brother Knowles, we'll see you next time.
Hey,
Peace.
I love you, man.